Hello there, I'm your host Andrew,
I'm James, co-host.
and then we got a new returning special guest.
Nathan!
It's Nathan.
Yeah, I'm not new.
Ooh, he's not new
He's
at
so
all.
new.
No, yes, of course.
When have you ever been in an episode before?
Y'all keep coming back for my voice.
So, all in favor of starting this episode? Say aye.
Aye. Perfect.
Motion
Actually,
carried.
not.
This is an example called a direct democracy, and we're gonna get into that.
Yay, democracy.
Gonna get right into that, didn't you?
Yeah, why into the democracy? Anyways, yeah, democracy literally breaks down to ruled by the people. That's kind of what it is,
Yeah.
for lack of a big.
Better.
I was like, a really honestly, it's like that's like a simple and basic description that actually works pretty well. So, yeah, there's a few different types of democracy. The two stars to break down we should probably get into is direct and indirect.
Direct and what?
Indirect.
Direct and indirect.
So direct democracy.
Wouldn't that be direct and like representative?
Representative.
That is a type of indirect
that is one
democracy.
Of the type of indirect democracy.
That's another basic way of saying indirect democracy.
I will flip
Representative.
a table.
So basically, there's yes or no.
So basically, in a direct democracy, we'd have the people vote on everything. For example, let's say we all want to
You want
figure
to
out.
eat a slice of pizza, but we don't approve.
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't approve of
I don't
eating
approve
pizza.
of this, Andrew.
So we vote and now you can't.
Yes.
For example, say I want to put a fence. You want to put a fence around the city hall. We could then have a vote. For example, say I signed to support it, and then they decide to deny it because they're pricks.
Because it
Whoa
would cost
there,
way too
that's
much.
not very
well
nice.
Then, hey.
And then I don't get my fence because I got voted because of a 2/3 majority beat me. Technically, it's only
Yeah,
a
it's
majority
too
you only
expensive.
need. But yeah, it just happens to be in this case.
Your fence is like $12, Andrew.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's too much work.
It's too much.
It's
So
too
yeah.
much work. It's not
For example, let's
pointless.
say I wanted to go out and buy some. For example, buy some dice.
Paint.
Yes, and for some reason we were all on board to buy some paint. For some reason,
Yes,
Yeah,
we're all on
paint.
board to buy the paint. Yes.
and then bam, we buy paint.
Yeah.
That's basically apply it to a government actual issues, and there you go. Direct
Yes.
democracy.
You
Yeah.
just vote on stuff
Yeah,
directly.
The first example, this is in Athens with a bit of an asterisk for a second. I'll get back to that in a second.
We'll get back to it.
Basically, yeah, if you had property and you had actually were a male, you could actually vote, and not slave, by the way. You could actually vote
Yeah,
and
that's kind of
discuss things
Huh.
in town hall.
How nice.
That is
This
quite
is
nice.
This is technically cited the first form of direct democracy. While it is in some sense, it's also more of an example of elite democracy, where only elites actually get to vote.
Yeah.
We'll get into
But
that
still.
later.
Yeah.
So,
An example is never perfect.
Yeah.
but yeah, most of the time this is the purest form of democracy, but it is highly
It's very hard to
impractical when you
manage.
have over 100 million people.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
very
no,
difficult to manage.
No, I'm not going to count individual
There
votes
is
for
some
stuff.
direct democracy still used in Switzerland, for example, but then again, they don't have that large of a population
Switzerland
relative.
is tiny.
They also
Yeah.
make watches.
Switzerland does a lot of things.
They're also neutral.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
they
also
are.
don't go to war.
Yeah.
I swear to
Is
gosh.
this-
I swear to gosh, you're going to war.
Is this some kind of war joke I'm too neutral to understand?
That's basically Switzerland in a nutshell. And also Sweden does the exact same thing, just gets less attention for it.
Oh, Sweden.
But yeah, moving on about that. Where was I? Oh yeah. Neutrality of social... No, I'm just kidding, that's irrelevant. Direct democracy.
Yes.
So, like I said, there's not too much more to say about direct democracy. It's kind of basic, it's
not
simple to
very
understand. It's just not used all that well often because it's kind of hard to. Occasionally you get those referendums in countries, which is like one of the occasions that you do get, normally sometimes we get direct kind of. Nah, it's not technically. We'll talk about that in a minute, but that's direct democracy in a nutshell. People vote, and if a majority has it, then bam, we're done.
Yep.
And technically, there's another one distinction I quickly need to make. Is that most direct democracies tend to be what you call a liberal democracy, where there's like no restrictions on what you can do, and basically you can vote on something which you consider which really wouldn't be in favor of people's freedom. For example, let's say I think people should not be allowed to wear hats, and for some reason Nathan decides to vote in favor of that.
Wait, why would you vote in favor of not? I got my fedora, my dude.
I got my sting hat, man.
I know, I'm making a joke here, but basically
This is rude.
that would be considered illiberal because I am purposely trying to target freedoms. For example, probably religious folk that, like, for example, nuns wearing their hood things wouldn't be very happy about me either.
No,
Yeah, they probably
nobody would be
wouldn't.
happy about this.
Neither would
Pope.
the Jews wearing their yarmulkes.
Yeah.
The Pope would just ban
Just-
my country.
Just all the religious people in their silly hats will be very mad at you because then they won't be able to wear their.
You know what would
silly
be really mad?
hats.
The Sultan wearing their
Sultan's
onion
hat.
hat. And
Oh, the onion hats. Have you not seen the onion hats?
I've not seen it on the house.
Oh, they're
Oh my
great. I'll
gosh.
show you onion later. It's
Dude.
great.
It looks like they're wearing a huge pearl onion on their head.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the wrapped up
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a turban.
turban.
I don't
Per
know.
se, but it looks like it's just a pearl onion on their head.
It's
That
great.
sounds great. I'm about to see that.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you consider illiberal democracy because then they couldn't do their religious things and they wouldn't be very happy with me. Illiberal democracy is likely constitution or something protecting them from doing that. So I can't wait. For example, I can't ban the practice of this new religion I just founded, anti-Nebraska, which is basically where you purposely worship everything that's not Nebraska because Nebraska sucks apparently. And then
Wow.
and then I was
Wow,
told
okay.
I can't. And then for some reason, the state's like you can't do that, and that's like freedom of religion. And there we go. That's an example I quickly made up for no reason. Nebraska, I'm gonna apologize now.
Wow, I
All
would
of our
apologize to
Nebraskan
you.
people.
Sorry if you live in Nebraska. I apologize to all 5 of you.
Oh wow.
Ouch.
Wow. just
Sorry, I had to
roasting
get the
them.
joke in there. Anyways, moving on. That's to what we call a indirect democracy, but more commonly known as representative democracy.
Yes.
Yes.
So what it basically is, a bunch of people elect one person, and then we get
Not
a ton
necessarily.
of different ones, right?
There's things.
One or two people, it doesn't matter, but like basic example.
You elect.
And then they
People.
do
What
other
if I-
people.
What if I feel that everyone deserves a sandwich, and I can then talk to those politicians and tell them that I would like to vote for someone that wants to give people free sandwiches.
Okay.
I like this.
I'll put that in my campaign. Free
And then
sandwiches for
eventually
select
some guy's like, dude, I got you, and vote runs on the promise of free sandwiches. I'm gonna vote for him because I really want those free sandwiches.
Yeah.
Same here. I'll take some free sandwiches.
I'm not saying you should be a single issue voter, by the way.
No,
yeah,
no,
don't
do
That's
that.
a bad idea. That's
Do
how you
your
get
research,
crazy
do your
people.
research.
Let's say I think that people should have free sandwiches. We should have roads that are paved, and we need more road signs. And for some reason, Nathan for some reason feels that all these are important issues.
They are very important issues.
And then
I
I'm like,
like
Road signs every 5 feet.
Oh jeez.
and then I'm just like, vote. And then
vote.
he has my interests in mind. At least I hope so, anyways. And then will be in the government, and he will try to bring it light to my issues.
Mhm.
And that's basically how a representative democracy works. You vote representatives
Which
to
then vote
do
for
your
things.
votes, and they get to vote on things most likely involving laws and such.
Wow.
Yeah.
They vote on stuff involving laws. Big surprise there.
That's some intense,
It's surprising.
intense.
So now there's a few different types of representative democracy. Representative democracies. There's the parliamentary model, which a decent portion of Europe uses.
Yeah.
Where
That's like
based,
the first one.
I don't know if we can. I don't no. What do you say?
I think that was the first kind of represent. Oh, maybe it was.
I don't know. I think
It was like 1707 when they first got the parliament,
17.
That's a good date.
which I think that might be the first
I don't know.
parliament.
We don't know, though.
What was the Dutch's first? The Dutch was like the first republic, right?
Maybe.
What did they use?
Don't know.
That
They might have just had their nobles in like a voting thing.
Yeah,
that's what we
makes
call it
sense.
elite democracy, which we'll get into in a minute.
Elitist democracies. Have fun.
If it's a republic.
Not good, though.
And, I don't know what the Dutch did. They haven't took the spice trade.
Yeah, they took two spice trade. That's basically all. I
Dutch
know.
Empire episode when we get to that,
Yes.
which will happen.
Spice trade will be a fun
But yeah, I'm
topic.
pretty sure the British were the first one with a parliament.
Yeah. Well, didn't we have? Actually, I think I'm actually that was like the whole thing with the crown. We'll talk about that one later.
But it was very elitist. Until like 1787, only like 3% of people could actually
But-
vote in the parliament.
basically the parliament worked a lot like this. It's basically the same thing with representative, like I just talked about discussion, except for more or less it tends to be the percentage. Okay, parliamentary democracy acknowledges the existence of parties. Like they become an actual part of the election now, instead of just being a thing that happens to support a person running.
Yes.
And then based on the amount of the votes that that party gets, they get to put representatives into the parliament to represent the issues of the party. And then the majority person, the party with the largest amount of members, will become the prime minister of that, and then end up having a amazing time passing stuff. Now one of the bigger issues was this technically can be an issue depending on who you ask. Is a parliamentary democracy tends to have a hard time getting a majority because there tends to have to be coalitions between parties to actually do something because it's kind of hard for someone to get over 50% of the vote.
Well, yeah.
Which is one of the other issues that caused fascism in Italy, plucking that episode, because no party was able to reach a majority, and then Italy had to change the law where every party instantly got 60% of the vote that won. Seats. 60 seats out of the 100 seats that won the majority vote. That's besides the point, though.
Huh.
Hilariously enough, though, I don't know how fair this election was, but the fascists actually got 65% of the vote. So, they got that extra free seat.
Oh man, you got the extra.
So anti-democracy. Just kidding. That is most partially a joke because I don't know how fair that election was, so we're not gonna talk about it right now.
It's rigged. It's all rigged.
He was apparently so very popular, but I don't know how popular it was.
That's why I'm not president, is because it's all rigged.
Yep.
I want to.
You heard it here first, guys.
Support me in my presidential campaign.
So, what are you running for?
President.
I mean, what? No, that's not the right
I'm
question.
running for president.
No, sorry. What are
No, I'm
you
running for Emperor of the U.S. Second.
There was
Emperor.
a guy.
Yep.
There was a guy who decided he would be Emperor of the United States and gained such a large following.
In one town.
In one town, yeah.
In one town.
Everybody was crazy for this guy.
He was like sort of recognized as the emperor.
That's
He
hilarious.
had
the
fake
second.
money. He had money printed with him on it.
Oh yeah.
Like his own money printed.
That was a good time. Anyways, we gotta move on to democracy. Next one, and the most the freest version, because I'm an American, I have to say that.
Freedom.
And that is the presidential version. Where basically, there's a few things we'll talk about the voting systems in a little bit. Where basically, people vote for Congress, in our case, Senate and a House Representative, which is similar in a lot of democracies, honestly, including parliamentary democracies.
That's true.
Where basically, they eventually get into a representative idea where they vote for people that think have my interests in mind. And the presidential one, how it works is, people vote, and whichever one gets the majority, or in this case, the United States Electoral College majority,
Yes.
gets to become president.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's how that would work. And that guy is the head of the executive branch, and he's the head of state, the chief. Sorry, commander-in-chief. That's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Goodness, dude, that took a while for you to
Chief
get
and
out.
commander of things.
Yeah, I know.
And
that
such.
was like a butchering.
Military. Moving on.
Yes.
Military. Moving on. Okay.
But yeah, he does a lot of important things. He's the figurehead of basically the United States as a whole, and he pretty much just also can veto laws. He has a lot of authority, but at the same time, he is balanced at the same time based on the fact of various checks and balances.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And democracies also tend to have a Supreme Court, which basically says, follow the godforsaken law!
Yeah. The court that is larger than the other courts.
Yeah, it basically tells you...
Wow, it is supreme!
Basically, how it works, legislation is
It's got a red supreme sign.
Yeah, it's got a red supreme
So how it works is
symbol.
the legislation branch is like, don't do that. The executive branch is like, you better not do that. And then the judicial branch is, you totally did that.
Now we're gonna punish you.
Now, yeah.
Congrats.
Better watch out!
And that right there is a good
People
summary.
picking up gavels and walking menacingly towards you.
You better not.
Wow.
Crap, they're gonna hit me with gavels.
Yeah, that's that whole idea explained. And then there's another type of democracy, which technically democracy does have all these can be. Best way I can put this is direct democracy, and then in representative democracy, and then illiberal and liberal democracy. And next type of democracy, there's either what we'd call a participation democracy, where basically anyone can more or less actually vote. There's like very few restrictions on voting.
What's it called?
What's it called? Participational democracy.
Participational democracy?
Something similar.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's actually participatory or something. It's
That's
precipitable.
not a word.
I think it's precipitable. I might exactly for the word.
Precipital.
Yeah, it might be something like that. Basically, we're allowed. Pretty much anyone can vote in a democracy. There's very few restrictions on anything.
That is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because then other governments can undermine you ridiculously easily.
Oh yeah.
They just send a bunch of guys in your country, they vote, and then they
Yeah,
leave.
that's one of
Yeah, I
those.
know, right? That's not that hard.
No. When I
Just
say,
send
when I
your
say the
entire
restriction,
country.
when I say the restrictions, they tend to be you actually have to be national citizens.
Unless you're not.
Then you don't vote unless that you do, and that's called voter fraud. And that's one of the issues with democracy. Because electoral democracy has its own faults.
Yes,
Wow.
everything has
something
faults.
having faults.
No,
Big
democracy is
surprise.
perfect. No questions asked.
It sounds good to me.
But
Everything has
yeah,
its faults.
Personally, I'd like a monarchy with myself in charge as emperor.
hey, monarchy
can we call
is
emperor?
another system
Nope,
of government.
I'm not emperor.
I am emperor too, you see.
No, you're not. You're not emperor. I am emperor.
I am emperor, and we will not debate this further.
You're right,
Okay,
because I'm
guys.
Jail.
We'll be
Because
talking about
You're in
monarchy
jail.
eventually. This just that one's not that popular nowadays, so we didn't actually choose that for
Well,
one
the
of the
Queen
three.
of England.
It's a figurehead.
God save the Queen!
She still has a lot of power, actually.
She's a figurehead.
We'll talk about monarchies, constitutional monarchies, all about that later. Heck, even diarchies. We talked about the monarchy episode.
I have no idea what a diet
Don't
is.
worry, you're not gonna learn until I do that episode. So that's good news for you guys that want to pressure me to make it.
Oh boy, sounds good to me.
Moving on, where was I? Oh yeah, and the last type of other type of democracy, and there's the elite.
The elitist democracy.
Yeah, but basically, you have to have status to vote.
How
Oh.
nice. But how does one determine a status?
If
Based
you have
on
property.
based on certain standards that need to be met.
Standards
As well
like
as there's
property
another type
or
of
money.
democracy where it's late democracy, but instead it's race based,
Oh,
like South
That's not
Africa.
excellent. South Africa.
Before,
They're apartheid.
yeah, the apartheid South Africa. That was a thing that
Ugh.
existed.
Everyone else decided that racism was bad. Why didn't they?
They're gonna need a minute to think about it.
They need a minute to think about it.
A minute lasting until 1990.
I'm dying. That's fun.
It's quite a long minute.
Yeah, it is.
It was a really long minute, guys.
It was like a 30-year minute.
But yeah, that was that whole business. Now, quick notes. I need to talk about democracy.
I don't
Talk about a few of the issues democracy has. One, it's easier to get influence because the government doesn't really have much power over the people. After all, the people are supposed to be above the government in a sense, not in an actual sense of being able to do whatever they want.
No,
Nope,
they just
we're not in anarchy.
We
we should
just
talk about
control
that
the
one later,
government.
too.
That will be another system of government we talk
I
about,
do- I
or
do wanna
not
talk about
system, depending on depends on who you ask.
Well, I mean, it is the
It's a system of no system.
It is a system without a system. It's the
Oh, I get.
oxymoron of the government
I don't
world.
like these oxymorons. I like governments. that
Anyways,
make
back to
sense.
democracy. Because that's what this video is about.
Yay, democracy.
Democracy.
Yay,
5-foot
freedom.
road signs.
What?
Free sandwiches. Weren't you listening?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention one
I'll
other
take
term
sandwiches.
to
I will
note.
take sandwiches.
Now, there's one thing people say. People say that U.S. isn't a democracy; it is a constitutional republic. Now, my only response to that is a constitutional republic is a type of democracy.
It
Yeah,
is.
It's just not
a
a-
type of democracy.
It's not a direct democracy, which is a lot
Yes.
of people think they talk about when we say democracy.
No.
No.
But there are a few different types. There's many different types of democracy. Is the thing.
yeah.
As with sandwiches, there are many different types of democracy.
Yes, you got your cheese democracy, sandwich democracy. You got your ham sandwich democracy.
Yeah. But they're all covered in bread.
Self-democracy.
Yep.
They're all a democracy.
All democracies are
Nope.
covered in bread. Between
Yes.
two
Yeah,
slices
right.
of bread.
Nope.
You can change the insides around a little, but there's always voting.
Oh yeah, speaking of voting, we'll talk about some of those
Voting.
voting systems.
Rule
Hey.
of law, freedom, like rights and stuff.
Yep.
There's usually a couple of common denominators with the various democracies.
Yeah, they tend to also be very in favor of liberalism, not what they talk about in the U.S. We're not talking about that type of liberalism. We're talking about the actual definition of liberalism.
The literal
Idea
definition.
of freedom. Who came
Yay,
from the
freedom.
Enlightenment.
I like freedom.
Yeah,
Means
it
I
is
can
pretty
do
nice.
stuff.
I enjoy it.
Yes.
Not to be confused with libertarian, though. That is like a big part that actually played a big part in the United States creation, though.
Yeah. There's a whole thing happening that I don't want to go into because it's a thing.
More on other ideologies eventually, but we don't have time to cover them right now.
Not at the moment.
No.
Get to them eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Consider it a series. we'll get to eventually.
We're gonna have a series on the types of governments.
Yep, we kind of started that. We'll do it
Yeah, we
eventually.
started. We'll make it. We'll put it in like a playlist. It'll be
Eventually, it'll be a thing.
Cool.
types of governments. That'll be cool.
All right, sounds good with me.
Comment below what type of government we'd like to talk about next. I swear I can't just do something. You don't name something that's hyper specific, for example, or a diarchy because there's not that much to talk about.
We could do an episode on just miscellaneous.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah.
small-
If we had a bunch of like small obscure government, we could do a miscellaneous episode.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true. Okay, we're 20 minutes, so let's continue on. But there are different types of voting systems.
Yes.
There's a winner-take-all system, which is first past post, which is basically what we have in the U.S. for electing presidents and in most races in other countries. Where basically, I like the idea of having this guy in charge, and then you two decide to vote against me because you guys don't like the right ideas.
I don't like
Yes.
him.
And then
I
bam,
don't
you
know
guys
who
have
he is.
you guys have a majority now, and then that person wins.
Ah, got him.
Now there's another type of voting system
It
where
was me.
I don't forget what it's called.
Damn.
But basically, you rank the amount of we rank the candidates. How it works is I want this guy in charge, but if he can't win, I want this guy. If I can't win, then I want to have this guy. And I guess if after all happens, if I'm forced to choose, I guess I'll go with this guy.
How does that work?
You rank the amount of people. So how it works is each of the candidates need to reach a certain percentage to guarantee themselves a seat, right?
Okay.
For example, let's say the Republicans, just for the sake of it, because I saw that party on my head, because it's a very common party in the U.S., surprisingly. They say they
Wow.
win, let's say, for example, 40% of the vote, right? Like, sorry, 47% of the vote.
Okay.
And you only need 20% of the vote to gain a seat.
Yep.
As well as Democrats, say, for the sake of 130% of the vote, and then we'd see Libertarians up at 10, and various other, it doesn't really matter
Various
too much.
other political systems.
Yeah, basically how it worked is we'd subtract first 20 from the biggest party, which for this case would be the Democrats, for some reason. Okay, right? And then they'd only have 10% of the. They would have 10%. They have 10% of the vote left, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd use basically how it would work is eventually if no one could reach that 20% for a seat,
Mhm.
then dude, what happening? They get rid of the lowest denominator. They get rid of the party with the least amount of votes, and they get the person's second choice. Those second choice voters would then go to the parties that they chose for second choice. And then if someone else reaches the majority, then they keep doing that
Oh.
until all the seats have been filled.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
It's a weird system of government. I'm a voting system.
It is an interesting system, that is for sure.
That's kind of weird.
But yeah, those are some interesting other systems. But for the most part, we tend to use first past the vote because it seems to be very simple and basic.
Yeah, that makes
It
sense.
works.
And then just for the fun of it, even though this is not really a voting system, but something just for the fun of it, electoral college. So that's,
That's a whole
democracy.
thing.
That's an
I
entire.
kind of like having it. even
The
though it's
idea
small,
behind it is basically the idea of the majority oppressing the minority, in a sense. Where direct democracy does have that issue, where it can become an interliberal democracy at any time, and this is a constitution.
Yeah.
When even still, you can get, like, for example, say the rural people really like their water and need for them farms.
Mhm.
Let's use a lot of urban cities that need water and think that I should have all of your water because I need it.
Yeah,
well,
so
then the democracy would vote in favor of taking all of the water of the rural area and give it to the urban areas, and the rural people would be like,
then everybody
"That's
would
my
starve.
water."
Now we can't grow food. We all starve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
So
And
we
that's
create
some-
water farms, and we figure, you know how it works.
and that's something that it could be happen under that sort of system.
That is a good example of what could happen. Yes.
Yeah.
That's tends to be like the idea. Now, one of the caveat, like one of the issues is we can get states that become safe over time just for a certain party. But then again, demographics always shift. We always have things where like new swing states. For example, in the modern day, you pretty much need to win Florida, Ohio, the Rust Belt now because that became competitive now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania used to be very solidly blue states, and then Trump won all of them.
Oh wow.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah, I
he became
remember
the
that.
president, and then now they're the competitive blue states.
Yep. Now people
So
are
that-
gonna be campaigning here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beforehand, the states that did actually run for would be Colorado, Nevada, and Virginia, which were like more your purple states, as well as Florida and Ohio because they're always purple.
Oh.
Wonder why.
Okay then.
Florida hasn't gone safe since like
Probably because
1800s.
Florida. Probably because there's so many people that go to Florida.
And there's a lot of immigrants, but there's
basis.
also a lot of old people, and old people tend to vote red, and a lot of immigrants tend to vote blue. Just kind of these
As
are
a trend,
trends.
it's general.
These are, like I
trend.
said, general trends, and this is not a very much not a guaranteed statement.
No.
There, trust me, there's a lot of all of them, especially those who come out of communism. tend to not like the idea when people start bringing up some socialist ideas, which occasionally happens.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
which is a really good way to get rid of those, that vote. Anyways, besides the point, that's just some of those sidetrack things. But basically, demographics always change.
Yeah.
But nowadays, we see Colorado and Nevada and Virginia become more blue states, and then the Rust Belt become more red. Because that always shifts, for the most part.
Yeah.
After all, California used to go safe red. Now it's completely and utterly safe blue.
Yeah.
South used to be safe blue. Now it's safe red.
Things shift.
Yeah, it's basically a bit in history of the Electoral College. Now, people just complain about the fact that basically it seems stupid that someone can win without a majority. Basically, the idea is to make sure you have to keep in mind of all demographic votes instead of just appealing to a large majority demographic.
Yeah, it makes it better.
That was like the idea behind it, and you choose to think whatever you want. I can't exactly force you to change your opinion. We think this is fascism. Plug in that episode. Purchase.
How did that episode go, by the way?
I did the thing. Problem is that we managed to cover everything. The problem is there's not everything that's not all that much to cover because there wasn't that many fascist states because they kind of tend to get destroyed really quickly because people tend not to like them existing.
The whole thing lasted like 30 years, so it's a little difficult to cover everything.
Yeah.
But we managed.
That's good.
So there's a lot of things to do with democracy and all of those issues, but as Winston Churchill once said, I think it was about democracy. Democracy is the worst system of government, except for all the other ones that have been tried.
Yeah.
Then again, that's not one of the best quotes I heard from Winston Churchill. I think my favorite quote from Winston Churchill was I forget, it was a politician, female politician, said, "If I was your wife, I'd poison you. Poison your coffee. If you were my wife, I'd drink it."
My wife, I drink it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the best quotes I've heard.
Wow, Destruction 100, I'd say.
That's
It's
great.
brutal.
So this is about democracy, and can you guys think of anything else you want to cover?
Not personally, no.
All in favor of voting on a new topic to talk about for the last 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nerf gun wars.
Nerf war.
Nerf wars.
I mean, we can take a minute to talk about. We can take a minute to talk about the channel.
The safety of
The channel?
Okay, yeah.
Take a minute to talk about our channel for a minute.
Can we fix the
What's to
logo
talk
so it's
about?
actually centered?
You can do that.
Wow,
I'll fix
Nathan
it.
coming after you now.
You know, if you want to.
Get a banner designed.
No,
That'd be cool.
You can do it if you want to take time out of it.
Yeah, I can figure it out.
I
I'll just
can't.
open up MS Paint. and-
I'm just not good at graphic design. I also took like a minute of that logo. Okay, guys.
It wasn't
didn't
bad, though.
Do
It's
graphic design.
I took graphic design. I should be able to
Okay.
whip together something.
Also, I think for once we could probably open it up. If someone wants to comment a suggestion, they can do that. Just I can't guarantee
Yeah.
it will happen.
If somebody wants to comment a comment, we'd be happy.
Yeah, comment if you have if you want to see another actual video on something.
We don't care what you comment. Just put something down there as long as it's not like.
Preferably
Stupid
don't just
or-
call me just a insult.
It's
At least give some
Wow.
constructive
You know they're gonna do it now.
criticism.
constructive criticism accepted. Insults still kind of accepted.
Yeah,
Except
it's
it only
still a
because I want
It's still a comment.
all of that amazing recommendations from people's feed. So yeah, please just give. If you're gonna tell me just go screw myself, for example, I mean I'll take the promotion.
Yeah, same here, dude.
Why not?
Just go ahead.
And if you want more of me, I'll try and
yeah,
get
We'll
it
be
right.
here and there. Everyone.
I'll try and be in as many videos as I can.
Yeah.
No hogging them though.
I won't.
We need
no,
other people
I gotta
as
share
well.
it. We should
Wait,
get
we
Brian.
need
You
people.
should get who?
Brian, one of my coworkers, he has a lot of good stories.
Story time with
Story time with Brian. Yeah,
Nathan's
Next
coworker.
segment.
It's story time with Nathan's coworker Brian.
Oh, that's great. That's
No,
hilarious.
that's good though.
Yeah, I don't know. We might consider doing another segment or a joke video for once in a while. I don't know. I haven't decided if we should do something or
I
not.
think we
Yeah.
should just to keep it content spinning. You know,
Yeah.
Keep some fresh stuff,
keep
man.
the content fresh. You know,
Yeah.
we can't stick with history all the time.
No, we can't.
We've been doing some other non-history videos, but we probably should do one. I mean, technically, this one isn't history per
That's
se.
It's still in the
It's
same
one of those
setting.
because when you talk about civics as well as something mildly political, it tends to also touch history.
Yeah, that's true.
it's kind of hard to explain the concept of the ideology. To explain some of the history of the ideology.
Yeah. So, going forward with the channel, what do we hope to achieve?
True communism.
Shut up.
No.
Get out.
Get out of
It's
here.
the democracy video. You disgrace.
In your face disgrace.
I knew he was a communist the whole time.
Anyway, that was the joke.
More subscribers.
Anyway, that was
I want to be
an
on
interesting
trending. Whoa.
That's quite ambitious.
Yes.
Comment there.
You thought Marvel's the most ambitious crossover? I think this is right here, Nathan.
Yeah, there we go.
We could have 2 guest stars on at the same time.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
It'd be incredible. Maybe we could do that like on part 2 on the memes thing.
Yeah.
We could bring like 2 experts in with us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Some
That'd be
memeologists.
nice. I got
Yes.
I got this down pat.
Oh, baloney.
All of me.
Baloney.
Okay, I think our next
Bring
video
Tyler.
likely will be on something more, just like I think something like fun. I think we need to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's do something fun next.
we should do that.
Looking at the
Okay.
time, we need to
Looks
wrap
like it's
this
about
up. Anything to say, James? Except you're
Uh,
welcome.
Democracy is cool.
Share the video. I want to be on trending.
Enjoy it.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Give us on trending.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
we're
Yeah.
killing it. Classic. Like, comment, subscribe.
loses our 2 subscribers.
No.
No.
Just kidding. You have your free will. Do what you
You
want.
have your free will. Do what you want. That's democracy for you.
Oh
Yep.
boy.
Literally.
Oh
Well,
boy.
Well,
Okay.
I've been your host,
let us
Andrew.
know.
I'm co-host James.
And I'm the guest star, Nathan.
Yep.
And we'll see you later.
Yep. See you next video.
Bye.
We'll upload soon. Bye.